Welcome, one and all, to PACIFIC414 Pop Talk. I'm your host, Mike, and tonight we have several articles to go over. And the main three, of course, are Dwayne Johnson's XFL making a deal with the NFL, Chevy Chase and co-stars, and the other one is Obi-Wan Kenobi versus Darth Vader in the new Obi-Wan Kenobi series that comes out on May 25th. But as you all know, I don't start off the three main articles right away. And if you're new here, the way I do it is I start off with other articles that I've seen throughout the week, throughout the day that I want to talk about. And then I make my way toward the main big three. But first, before I do that, I want to issue some congratulations to a good friend of mine. Brandon, the anime guy, has reached 500 subscribers. He does great work over on his channels. You can catch him every Saturday at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. That's 1 o'clock Eastern time on his channel, discussing anime on Anime 101. He also does video reviews, and he's a great guy. So if you'd like to subscribe to his channel, especially if you're an anime fan, I will go ahead and post the link in the chat. But congratulations, Brandon. You're doing great work over on your channel. And it's great to see. I mean, man, you're kicking ass. You are definitely kicking ass, brother. And, hats off to you. You're talking about something that you're passionate about, just like, any of us who are on here, we talk about things that we're passionate about, and you are definitely passionate about anime. You have a love for it that you've had since you were growing up. And to see your channel just take off like it has, it's wonderful, brother. Absolutely wonderful. So again, congratulations to Brandon the anime guy. And let's go ahead and get into our first article here. And before I do that, I hope you are all doing well this evening. So this first article, it's from the Direct. It was posted just today. And it says Disney Plus announces release date for Daredevil and more Marvel Netflix shows. All right, so I do want to apologize ahead of time if I start coughing. I am fighting a cold. But this article comes from us by the Direct, and it's written by Ariane Mur Eleanor. I know I just butchered that. But it goes off by saying Marvel series on Netflix have had a tumultuous ride from their early development, cancellation, removal, and finally a chance at a second win. Prior to the creation of Disney Plus, shows were initially seen as a way to expand the Marvel Cinematic Universe onto television, giving the likes of Daredevil, Jessica Jones, The Punisher, and more their very own television series. As the shows continue, though, a lack of acknowledgement from Marvel Studios films raised questions about their true connections to the MCU. In addition to the fact that the series were being produced instead by Marvel Television, while early offerings like Daredevil, Jessica Jones, and Luke Cage received high praise, other lackluster installments like Iron Fist and disappointing follow-up seasons eventually led to the cancellation of all the shows. Goes on to say this left the Defenders characters and their respective shows in a state of limbo until a glimmer of hope came with the prospect of the characters' rights returning to Marvel Studios proper. Spider-Man No Way Home and Hawkeye's use of Daredevil characters continued to signal the Netflix game might soon be reincorporated somehow, which was only furthered by the announcement that all the series would be leaving the streaming platform on March 1st. And before I continue any further, I am going to go ahead and include the link to this article in the chat. So if you want to read along, you can. Or if you want to hear me read, that's fine too. Okay. It goes on to say it was unknown what the plan for the Netflix shows was after being removed, but a new announcement indicates where fans will be able to watch the series next. Marvel's Defenders moved to Disney Plus. Marvel. A press release from Disney Canada via Twitter user Shabazz, the movie podcast, officially confirmed the Disney Plus release date of Marvel's Netflix distributed shows on the streaming service after they leave Netflix on February 28th. Goes on to say, the announcement revealed that Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, The Punisher, The Defenders will start streaming on Disney Plus Canada on March 16th. It's unknown if Disney Plus in the United States and other territories will begin streaming these series on this date or a later time. There's no word yet on the release status of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which is also set to be removed from Netflix soon. How will Disney Plus promote Marvel's Netflix shows? The latest confirmation from Disney Plus Canada serves as a major step toward bringing Marvel's Defenders back to its rightful home. While it is not yet confirmed if it will arrive on Disney Plus US, the fact that the shows are coming in international territories is already a good sign, potentially hinting that an official announcement could be unveiled sooner rather than later. Marvel's Netflix shows have been the subject of debates among fans over the years due to their confusing connection to the wider MCU. The conversations amplified even further when two major characters from the Defenders universe made their way to Spider-Man No Way Home and Hawkeye. Charlie Cox's Matt Murdock helped sort the legal mess of Tom Holland's Peter Parker, while Vincent D'Onofrio made his presence felt as Kingpin against Jeremy Renner's Clint Barton and Haley Steinfeld's Kate Bishop. And I do want to say hello to the Nerporeal life form. Hello, brother. Sorry for the sound of my voice, but I am battling a cold right now. So I'm going to try to get through this. And whatever articles I don't read tonight, I will plan on doing a special live edition of Pop Talk on Sunday in place of the normal 2-story video that I usually upload. And yes, according to the article that I read the other day and uploaded in the video, Stranger Things is coming to an end after season 5. Yeah, I think it's about time, to be perfectly honest. Yeah, it's what happens, to any show that overstays its welcome, they end up getting ruined. Okay, so the article goes on to say in a previous interview, D'Onofrio confirmed that Daredevil's Kingpin is the same as Hawkeye's Kingpin, with the actor even admitting that it's the same canon. But he completely understood the confusion. Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige then teased the possibility of seeing more former Netflix heroes return to the MCU, cryptically saying, whenever a character comes back into the Marvel sandbox, it becomes another storytelling tool. Given the mature content in Marvel's Netflix shows, it's possible that Daredevil, Luke Cage, and the rest will be slated to premiere on Hulu or Star, a content hub featuring movies and shows from Fox and other Disney-owned studios. Still, it is also likely that the Defenders-led projects could join the rest of the MCU slate, thus solidifying the show's place in the franchise's interconnected events. If this is the case, the fans will eventually find out where shows like Jessica Jones and the Defenders fit in the Infinity Saga. Doing this allows fans to completely understand how each Netflix show connects to one another, and it would hint to how major films such as Avengers Endgame affect the titular heroes. And let's see. Nerporial says, I think Stranger Things should have been anthological season to season. Yeah. And it definitely should have. But unfortunately, I wasn't, put in charge, or nobody else I knew was put in charge. When am I going to play more Final Fantasy VII Remake? The plan is to do it tomorrow at 8 o'clock Eastern. That's the plan. I'm not going to, do one of those things where I play it for one stream and don't play it ever again. I've done that too many times. But the fun I was having playing Final Fantasy VII on Monday night, well, I'm just going to keep going and, go through all the bumps and bruises. And actually, I did get a very nice compliment on the video that I did on Monday, the live stream. And the person, they were very complimentary, and they were just offering very helpful hits as far as, doing the combat system in the game and everything. So I really appreciate that. And I want to say hello to the Padawannabe. Hello. So, guys, what do you think about Disney bringing the Netflix Marvel series back into the fold? Now, this would be great news if, the series were still going and they stayed on Netflix, where they would be allowed to, bend the envelope, so to speak. But, since these are all repeats, I don't see them ending up on Disney Plus here in the US. I see them ending up on Hulu here in the US. Even the article itself mentioned that, but that's where I see it happening. So those are really my thoughts on this. I mean, the only series that I actually had gotten into for a while was Jessica Jones. I didn't really give Daredevil that much time to really like it or dislike it. It was just there for me. And the Padawannabe says, yes, please. I enjoyed all these series, but didn't. Company, yikes. We'll see what happens. Or a different company. Exactly, brother. Exactly. So let's go ahead and move on to the next article. This next article comes from Yahoo, and it's via BuzzFeed. And before I get into it, let's see. Padawannabe is saying Jessica Jones was my least favorite by far. Well, that's okay. It was the one I watched. I enjoyed, and you didn't enjoy it, and that's fine. We don't have to agree to disagree. It's like there are episodes of season 2 of Star Trek: The Next Generation that I enjoy, and I would have given my full thoughts had I been feeling better last night on those episodes. But that there's going to be times where you agree with somebody and you disagree with somebody, and don't keep fighting that battle because it's not worth it. There are times it's just not worth it. All right, so this article is from BuzzFeed, and of course it comes from Yahoo Life. It was posted today, and it says Charlize Theron opened up about her rift with Tom Hardy while filming Mad Max, and she said she didn't feel safe working with him. Yeah, I thought Jessica Jones season 1 was very good, nerd. And it was one of those things where I could watch it over and over again, and I wasn't getting tired of it. And the Padawan wannabe says just so much more action in the others. It was decent, but I knew all the other characters from the comics also, so I'm biased. Nothing wrong with that. Royal says if people don't agree with me, then they are this and that. Making a little subtle jab. All right. And he says Daredevil is hands down the best. Yeah. Yeah. I could see why people really enjoyed it. And maybe at some point I'll rewatch it and maybe I'll do a Pacific 414 episode review on, those particular series because I didn't have the channel at the time. So, anyways, this article is talking about how Charlize Theron didn't feel safe with Tom Hardy on the set of Mad Max. So, goes on to say almost a decade after the release of Mad Max Fury Road, Charlize Theron has opened up in greater detail about the widely publicized contention on set between herself and Tom Hardy, her co-star and fictional adversary in the film. Goes on to say, addressing previous reports that circulated when Mad Max premiered in 2015, Charlize shed more light on her rift with Tom and said certain behaviors made her feel unsafe during filming in an excerpt from reporter Kyle Buchanan's new book, Blood, Sweat, and Chrome, The Wild and True Story of Mad Max Fury Road. We know from others involved in Mad Max that Charlize and Tom's real-life feud colored the movie's production. Zoe Kravitz, who played a supporting role, said they didn't get along in a 2017 interview, while the leading actors themselves acknowledged their clash in subsequent comments to the New York Times. The expert from Kyle's book focuses partly on an incident that left Charlize scared shitless and led her to request that a woman producer escort her everywhere until Mad Max had wrapped. As Mark Golanich, a crew member, explained, it started when Tom arrived 3 hours late to set one day. She's now in the war rig, sitting there with her makeup on and a full costume for 3 hours. Tom turns up and he walks casually across the desert. Mark shared. She jumps out of the war rig and starts swearing her head off at him, saying, "Find the effing cunt $100,000 for every minute he's held up this crew. How disrespectful are you?" She was right. Full rant. Brother Brothers pictures and just showing that picture of Charlize Theron and everything. Okay, it goes on to say she screams it out. He continued, "It's so loud, it's so windy. You might have heard some of it." But then he charged up to her and went, "What did you say to me?" He was quite aggressive. She really felt threatened, and that was the turning point because then she said, "Excuse me." Because then she said, "I want someone as protection." And she then had a producer that was assigned to be with her all time. And let me go ahead and share this in the chat before I go any further. Goes on to say, let's see, make sure I didn't. It got to a place where it was kind of out of hand, and there was a sense that maybe sending a woman producer down could maybe equalize some of it because I didn't feel safe, Charlize recalled. "I don't want to make excuses for bad behavior, but it was a tough shoot. Now I have a very clear perspective on what went down," she added. "I don't think I had that clarity when we were making the movie. I was in survival mode. I was really scared shitless." Charlize first spoke at length about her clash with Tom in comments to the Times 2 years ago. In retrospect, I didn't have enough empathy to really truly understand that what he must have felt like to step into Mel Gibson's shoes. Charlize told the newspaper, noting how Tom took on Mad Max part that Mel originated in the franchise's prior installments. I would agree, said Tom in the same interview. I think in hindsight, I was in over my head in many ways. The pressure on both of us was overwhelming at times. What she needed was a better, perhaps more experienced partner in me. That's something that can't be faked. I like to think that now that I'm older and uglier, I could rise to that occasion. All right. So that's a full excerpt. So I am going to copy the link to that and go ahead and post that in the chat as well. Padawannabe says, funny how she approached him first, but now she's the victim. Professionalism goes so far. She should have less aggressive. Yeah. Or, go to the director. Go to the director and say something. I mean, well, why wait and speak up about it now or when this article was first published? Why not talk about it, during the production of the movie? I don't get it. If it's bothering you that much, speak up about it. That's just me. I know people are going to disagree. I fully understand that people are going to disagree, but why are you waiting? That's what I want to know. I mean, I can think of several reasons. One of the reasons where she wants to have a story to give to a newspaper or a magazine so that they publish it. But I don't get it. I'm certainly glad I don't work in that business. That's for damn sure. That is for damn sure, my friends. So, this next article that I'm about to read was also, published yesterday, and it's from Bounding in the Comics. It's by Ryan Pearson, and it says, rumored Dragon Age 4 in very good shape, could launch in 2023 at the earliest. So anyone who's a fan of the Dragon Age games, you might get an early present. Let me just check, make sure, because last week when I was sharing some articles on here, it wasn't coming through. All right. It says sources claim that despite past issues, Dragon Age 4 is in very good shape and could launch in 2023 at the earliest. And the article goes on to say the claim was made by video game journalist Jeff Grubb, a frequent leaker who most recently accurately leaked the recent reveal of Street Fighter VI during the 34th episode of the Giant Bomb Grub Snack podcast. I've heard Dragon Age 4 is in very good shape, Grubb said during the interview. Overall, when they look at where they're supposed to be at in development cycle, they are hitting their milestones and where they're supposed to be, and the game is on schedule. Grubb also speculated that if all goes smoothly, the long-awaited sequel is still at least 18 months out from today, and thus could release not early 2023, but maybe late 2023. That seems to be the earliest you can begin to expect it. And let me go ahead and share this link real quick. Goes on to say, in addition, Group claimed that BioWare had no plans to give the Dragon Age trilogy, a legendary edition remaster like they did with the Mass Effect trilogy. All right. And hello, pop culture mechanic. Good to see you, brother. Sorry for the sound of my voice. I'm fighting a cold, brother. All right, it goes on to say a factor in this passing on a Dragon Age remastered edition was that while Mass Effect formed one complete story, the Sword and Sorcery series weren't as directly linked. Grube also explained that since the Dragon Age games were built in a different engine from the sci fi series, it would require a substantial amount of work to update them for modern systems. The trouble for Dragon Age 4 began before it was publicly announced, beginning in 2016 when team members were shifted to help fix Mass Effect Andromeda before its disastrous launch. The title was then canceled in 2017 in order to allocate team members to work on Anthem. And before I continue, I want to say hello to Godzilla Air. Welcome, brother. Goes on to say, Jason Shearer later reported under Kotaku that Dragon Age 4's development was rebooted in October 2017 due to issues including BioWare having taken too many projects at once and a battle between EA's financial goals and the studio's design philosophies, particularly regarding ongoing monetization plans. These alleged problems resulted in the departure of several major BioWare staff, including Dragon Age Senior Creative Director Matt Goldman, BioWare General Manager Casey Hudson, Dragon Age producer Mark Dara, Dragon Age 4 lead producer Fernando Melo, excuse me, and Anthem lead producer Ben Irving. All right, make sure I'm. All right. Yeah, it's good. Okay. Eventually, in July 2021, Group reported for VentureBeat that sources familiar with Dragon Age 4 confirmed the game is on track for release in 2023. 4 months earlier this year, reported in February 2021 that Dragon Age 4 would drop its multiplayer elements, which many, including PC Gamer, Games Radar, and Game Rant, took to mean that, and I hate these freaking pop-ups. I don't really care about the product that they're trying to sell. It's usually a Chevy ad, especially on this channel. But even in this case, if it's not, I just can't stand it when these ads pop up. But I know it's just part of being on this website. All right, Centura. Yeah, okay. Great ad. All right. Rand took to me in the game's live service elements have been called and be a purely single player game. Well, I'm going to be honest, as someone who plays a lot of games solo, I don't mind if it's single player. Alleged factors in this shift included the success of single player Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order and the failure of Anthem. Goes on to say, announced in 2018, so far we know that Dragon Age 4 is themed around being initially powerless, while those with power do nothing to help others. The game will feature the voice talents of Gareth David Lloyd as Solus, Ji Yon Han as Valaris, and Ike Amadi as Darman. The game's previously released concept art and singular teaser trailer have teased the true debut of the executors the return of the Grey Wardens, and appearances by Red Lyram, Idol, and Dreadwolf. And the question that it asked, and I'm going to ask all of you, are you looking forward to Dragon Age 4, or is it not a series that you're into? Or, is it just something you didn't think was going to happen, and this is the first you're even hearing about the game? Let me know in the comments, and in the meantime, we will go ahead and move on to our next article here on Bounty in the Comics. Let me go ahead and switch over. So, Hollywood seems to like to take away the mystery surrounding certain characters. It happened to Boba Fett. Here it is. The guy takes off his mask and he talks way too much. And I'm not just repeating the talking points of Tamara Morrison. I also feel that way because I felt that Boba Fett talked way too much. Well, I don't blame you there, Godzillionaire. I mean, there have been times where I've bought a game. Yes, it was made by EA, and thinking, oh, this could be a good game. And I ended up not enjoying it. And I'll give you a perfect example. I thought Rogue Squadron was going to be a good game. Now, in my opinion, it's not a good game. Jedi Fallen Order, that is a good game. But Rogue Squadron, in my opinion, I didn't like it. I don't like the controls in that game. So this article was posted yesterday. It's by Ryan Pearson, and it says Master Chief to have face revealed in Paramount Plus live action Halo series. And it goes on to say it has been confirmed that Master Chief will reveal his face in Paramount Plus live action Halo TV series. And it says, speaking to IGN, Halo executive producer and 343 Industries studio head of Transmedia, Kiki Wolfkill, explained that showing what John 117, not 1117, 117 looked like under the helmet was important for the story that will be told. I'm sorry. But again, not every character needs to be shown. And we have our first butt of the evening. I'd say welcome, but usually all you guys want to do is cause trouble. All right. So, goes on to say, I think we set out to tell a character story and a personal story, Wolfkill. Oh, excuse me. Sorry. Wolfkill stated. And once we really got into that story, it became clear that you really need to see the person in the armor and under the helmet. No, you don't. No, you don't. And let's see, Godzilla there says, agreed, Star Wars Squadrons had horrible flight controls. It did. It did. I'm grateful I didn't pay that much money for it to begin with, but still, the controls, they just sucked. I even tried streaming it a few times and I got so frustrated that I had to stop the stream because it was affecting the quality of the stream itself. She then revealed that fans will see his face at some point in the series, noting that for some people, it's been a moment 20 years in the making, and for other people, it's something that feels very hard to imagine. We absolutely respect both sides of that fence, those who really want to see Chief's face and those who really don't. Wolfkill explained, But for the nature of the story, it felt really important to connect with Master Chief in a different way, and that meant showing the face. Well, again, you don't necessarily have to show the character's face. I mean, they didn't have to show Din Djarin's face either in The Mandalorian, but they did. Ignoring the fact Pablo Schreiber will be playing Master Chief, and we already know that the actor himself looks like the Master Chief character has never officially had his face fully revealed in the Halo games. However, that is not to say fans have never gotten a glimpse under the Spartan's hood. The ending of the first Halo game saw Master Chief taking off his helmet, though the camera shot of his face was ultimately obscured by the frame of his long sword fighter. Yeah, because they want to keep that a mystery. Not every mystery needs to be solved, in my opinion. Some things just need to be left to the game designer's imagination, those who are playing the game's imagination, those who are watching the movies, TV series imagination, even the book. Can describe it in such a way where it still leaves enough there to leave it up to someone's imagination. It says fans hacking later revealed that under his helmet was another helmet, or rather, Chief's model had simply duplicated its helmet and never actually removed it. Halo 3's beta had a face behind the mask, as did other Spartans. While the face was claimed to have been a Photoshop version of Bungie creative director, studio director, 3D artist, and environment artist Marcus Leto himself later revealed that this may have actually been 3D artist Eric Arroyo. Finally, Halo 4 featured a flashback montage of a young Master Chief undergoing his Spartan training, while the game's secret legendary ending revealed that he had seemingly Caucasian face under the left eye, with a scar under the left eye. Reading too fast. A young helmetless Chief can also be seen in both Halo 5 Guardians and the animated short film Halo Fall of Reach. Likewise, the trailer for the Halo TV series shows the back of a white male, potentially either a Chief or another Spartan, bearing a shaven head. Fan reactions to the news, particularly in response to Video Game Awards producer and host Jeff Knightley's discussion of Chief's unmasking, were less than positive. Well, of course not. Again, not every character needs to have their face revealed. I'll put it in wrestling terms. For anybody who watched WWF, now known as WWE, during what's known as the Attitude Era, and that's from 97 to 2002, did any of you really think that Kane had to take off his mask? I don't think he did. I think that, ruined what made part of the character. What made him intimidating is because you didn't see the face behind the mask. But, again, it was a creative decision. All right, so this article goes on to say, could have kept the helmet on the whole time and let Steve Downes do the voice. But here we are, I guess, and that's what a Twitter user says. It goes on to say, this seems like a really bad idea. Said another tweeter, at this point, any design you do is likely to be hated by most people because it doesn't fit with their imagined idea of what he looks like. No? I get that many actors kind of rely on their face for their profession, but a good team of directors, actors working together can still pull off the visage of an incredibly compelling character without ever showing their face, said another. V for Vendetta is the peak example. Yeah. But Hollywood doesn't want to do that anymore, unfortunately. This would be like making a Lord of the Rings show and then changing literally every aspect of Tolkien's writing for no reason. Adding, oh wait, in reference to the litany of lore breaking changes the Amazon show is set to make. Okay, not everyone was against the idea, however, as another Twitter response was, "We've already seen Chief's face a dozen times, but this will piss off the gamers, so I'm down." And then it says, nonetheless, fans have already expressed concern over one confirmed change already made to the series, finding themselves questioning the live action Cortana's more human and realistic appearance compared to her original blue incarnation. This displeasure with Cortana's new look soon led fans to make their own edits of her appearance, many of which were better received than the official version. Well, of course, it's just another case of fans do it better. And also goes on to say it should be noted that both Halo and Sonic the Hedgehog, whose original depiction of the Sega mascot was so heavily lambasted that it was eventually changed to be more in line with the games, were produced by Paramount. So you think they would have learned after what happened with Sonic, but it's Hollywood. They're slow to learn, in my opinion. Following these changes, and arguably because of them, Sonic the Hedgehog went on to be a smash hit with a third film and TV series recently announced as on the way. As such, one wonders if listening to fan feedback on both Master Chief and Cortana's live action debuts may yield similar results. We'll just have to wait and see, won't we? Should Master Chief remain more a figure than a man? Is this yet another example of a live action adaptation looking to dethrone a hero? Well, I think it is exactly that. A live action adaptation looking to dethrone a hero, looking to take away what makes that particular hero special. And in this case, for Master Chief, it's not seeing his face, just hearing the voice. And you got it exactly right, Godzillionaire. Face reveal, because we suck at storytelling. And Godzillionaire also says V for Vendetta is a bad example, considering they replaced the actor that played V halfway through the movie, and very few people know it. Well, good point. Very good point. So, here's my question. Do you guys even want to see Master Chief's face? And part two of that question is, are you even going to watch the Halo series? I have no intention on watching it because I have no intention on giving Paramount Plus any bit of my hard-working dollars. None. Absolutely none. So let me know what you guys think. And let's get on to some other news while I'm bounding in the comics. Granted, I do have a couple articles where I'll be going back to them in a little bit. But I came across this and I just found this interesting, and that's just how I do it. Anytime I see an article that I think it's interesting and it's worth discussing, even if I don't really have anything to say about it myself, well, I will talk about it here on Pop Talk. Pop Culture Mechanics says I was never invested in Halo games. Excuse me. I was never invested in Halo games. As for seeing his face, it's not that important to me. And I'm sure there are many other people that will echo that sentiment, pop culture. And honestly, it shouldn't be the main driving point of your whole story. But again, like Godzilla says, you know, They suck at storytelling now. So this article is from Bound in the Comics. It was released on Sunday, and it's written by Spencer McCauley. It says Sega shelves Petite Saki episode indefinitely following accusations of blackface from Western audiences. Okay, it says Sega has indefinitely pulled an episode of Vocaloid gag anime Petite Seki after its punchline was accused of promoting blackface by Western audiences. And it says, based on the project Sake Colorful Stage, mobile rhythm game of the same name, Petite Sake follows chibi versions of Hatsune Miku and her fellow Vocaloids, the term given for such digital performers taken from the name of the speech synthesis software that provides their voices as they find themselves in a number of ever comedic situations each episode. Such plots include the series characters providing instructions on 1,000 ways to get rid of nervousness, pushing themselves to the limit in pursuit of their idle dreams, and even taking on the role of Takatsu heroes to protect the world. However, despite the innocent and lighthearted nature of these shorts, the latest entry in the series has sparked outrage among Western audiences. Well, what doesn't spark outrage from the West anymore? Yeah, I'm thinking out loud. I do that from time to time. It says, released on February 17th and titled Leo Needs Style, the latest episode of Petite Saki opens with Saki, a member of the all-girl idol group Leonid, introducing a new look that bears a striking resemblance to Marin Tagawa. I don't know, I'm probably mispronouncing that. The lead character of the currently airing My Dress Up Darling. All right, come on. Okay, let's go down. My Dress Up Darling, there we go. And eventually, as Saki is joined in her new appearance by fellow Leonid members Ichan and Hanmani, or Hanami, the newly fashioned trio is discovered by the group's final member, Shiho. Taking notice of their makeovers, Shiho proceeds to inform her bandmates that she would rather perfect my technique before my visuals, to which Ichan reasons that both visuals and music are key ingredients to an idol group's success. As such, the group proceeds to brainstorm on ideas for their visual theme. Taking the lead from the Leo in their band name, the group eventually proposes a lion theme repel with tribal costumes and dark makeup done in Garu style, popular Japanese fashion subculture of Garu style typically sees women dressing in loud, exaggerated clothing and wearing dramatic makeup as a rejection of the country's traditional beauty standards. Okay. However, Shiho eventually rejects the theme, finding that it's so far out there. Dejected and still fully made up, Saki then proceeds to walk home, ending the episode by surprising her brother with her widely different appearance. Following the episode's premiere, social media was soon inundated with outrage towards Sega as a number of Western fans took issue with the anime's depiction of what they described as blackface. One fan asserted the Project Seki blackface situation is crazy because all the devs know well and have acknowledged that there's a gigantic Western following for the game. So the fact that they would put Leo in blackface is so. There is literally no excuse for the Project Sekai anime to have blackface in it, said another. I hope they get a ton of what for this. I'm sorry, this is just gross. And a follow up tweet, she further stated, I am doubling down on this being in poor taste. There's no excuse for blackface. They should have done carnival face paint or cat whiskers. They shouldn't have worn stereotypical tribal or caveman outfits either. Uh, I have also seen people say this is more like Garu fashion. Aha, Westerners don't know. You know what? This is not Garu fashion, nor does it resemble it. Garus don't dress like stereotypical African tribal people. Retweeting the announcement of the new Leo Need event in Project Sakai at Nita Valley Sprig told Sega, instead of releasing a new Leo Need event, why don't you address the fact you seriously thought it was okay to do a Sakai episode with Leo Need doing black. Sorry, folks. Sorry. Doing blackface. Ultimately, in the face of these accusations, Sega issued a statement on February 18th to both their English and Japanese accounts to sincerely apologize regarding the use of an inappropriate image in the episode Leo Needs Style. The Project Senkai Colorful Stage featuring Hatsune Miku and Hatsune Miku Colorful Stage team's goal is to provide both in-game and outside the game content that is enjoyable by fans around the world with different cultures and values. They continued, we would like to issue a most sincere apology for releasing inappropriate and insensitive content, although it was unintentional. We appreciate many of our fans for pointing the issue out. To that end, Sega then announced, for now, we will be taking down the episode Leo Need Style indefinitely. We are making sure the issue is shared among the team thoroughly so we can utilize this experience to avoid encountering similar issues in the future as we continue to strive to create content that can be enjoyed by a wide range of players, they concluded. What do you make of Sega's decision to pull Leo Need Style episode of Petite Sake? Well, honestly, it's current year, and even if it wasn't put into the context of Japanese culture, where there's some people, will say, "Well, you don't know anything about it." No, I'll admit it, I don't. But what I've been learning about it, you can't tell them to change because that's their culture. It's like someone coming over here and telling you to change. They're not going to do it. You're going to tell them to F off. And I will speak on a personal note as someone with cerebral palsy was saying, then put people with disabilities in shows just for the sake of putting them in shows. I don't agree with it, but I've also learned that there are plenty of times where people don't care what I think. So I just need to move on and get on with my life. And, just be the best human being I can be. So I'm just checking a few things before I go on to the next article. I do want to thank you all for being here and putting up with the sound of my voice. Thank you. Okay. So this next article I am going to read comes from The Hollywood Reporter. And this article was posted yesterday. It's by Boris Kitt and Mia Galupa. And it says, why Paramount's Star Trek sequel reveal surprised its own stars? Well, that's because it's not going to be made. And we've heard this rumor before about a Star Trek 4 in the Kelvin timeline. And I'm sorry, it's not happening. Sources say that most, if not all, rep teams for the franchise's primary talent were not aware that an announcement for another film was coming, much less their clients would be touted as part of the deal during a Wall Street event. Oh, are we surprised? I'm not. Of course, they're going to make an announcement without even having confirmation from their stars that they're actually going to be in it, because they're trying to, bring up their stock price. But ever since they made this announcement, the stock price has been crumbling. Okay, so it says on February 15th, Paramount announced that it would boldly go where it hasn't managed to go before. A fourth iteration in a stalled 21st century feature strategy for the Star Trek franchise. During the Paramount Investor Day, producer J.J. Abrams, who rebooted the sci-fi franchise for the big screen in 2009, revealed that the USS Enterprise was being readied for a new flight. We are thrilled to say that we are hard at work on a new Star Trek film that will be shooting by the end of the year, that will be featuring our original cast. Well, unfortunately, -1, because Anton Yelchin is no longer with us. The proclamation came as a surprise, not just to observers who have been watching the movie studio haltingly try to revive Trek on the big screen for years, but to the actors and their representatives as well. Sources tell The Hollywood Reporter that most, if not all, teams for the franchise's primary players, who include Chris Pine, Zachary Quinto, Simon Pegg, Carl Urban, Zoe Zendaya, and John Cho, were not aware that an announcement for another film was coming, much less that their clients would be touted as part of the deal. And certainly not that their clients would be shooting a movie by year's end. Insiders say that Pine, who plays Captain Kirk, is the first to enter into early negotiations, as he is the linchpin to the project. Yes, rest in peace, Chekhov. Indeed. The hope is to begin filming in the fall in order to make the December 22nd, 2023 theatrical release. The script is still being worked on, according to sources. Well, they've been saying that the script's been being worked on ever since they announced Star Trek 4. And they announced Star Trek 4 back in 2016 when Beyond came out. The script is still being worked on, according to sources, and there is no green light or a budget in place. In fact, the budget will now likely have to account for talent deals that may be supersized. Industry insiders say that Paramount let go of negotiating leverage in order to have a key chess piece as it courts Wall Street investors. Star Trek, of course, has been a backbone of the company's streaming strategy, live action series Discovery and Picard, as well as adult animated series Lower Decks and Nickelodeon's Prodigy, are all cruising on warp speed. Are we sure about that? Honestly, this is a real question. Are we sure that they're cruising at warp speed? Because if they were, we'd be seeing numbers. We would be seeing numbers of how well they're doing on the streaming service. And I have stated many times on this channel, I am not a fan of Kurtzman Trek, and I was not a fan of season 3 of Star Trek Discovery, which is why I'm not reviewing season 4 Discovery, and I will not be reviewing season 2 of Picard. While the universe itself will continue to expand under the watchful eye of Alex Kurtzman, it's not so watchful, whose rich pack runs through 2026. Yeah, 4 more years? Can we wait 4 more years? Oh, gosh. Yeah, we could wait 4 more years, but you never know who's coming after him. But the feature strategy had come to a standstill. An initial plan for a fourth Star Trek fell apart in 2018. Talks with stars Pine and Chris Hemsworth, who would have played Captain Kirk's father in a reprisal of a small role in the 2009 franchise starter, dissolved over money, with the studio and finance partner Skydance holding a tough line on budget. At the time, Jim Giannopoulos was a scant year into his tenure as head of the studio, which was still dealing with several big bombs at the box office and needed to reel in spending. The Star Trek franchise was one of the diminishing returns, with the third movie, Star Trek Beyond, grossing only $343 million worldwide on a budget of $190 million, the lowest box office receipt of the three films. Well, in my own opinion, Into Darkness was just them trying to do a repeat of The Wrath of Khan, and Star Trek Beyond was too little too late as far as the good parts of that film. The studio had 3 Star Trek features in development, including ideas from Quentin Tarantino, Noah Hawley, that would follow different crews and timelines. As the then Motion Picture Group president, Emma Watts took account of the studio's slate. Hawley's Star Trek was next. Tarantino's never materialized. The remaining holdover from this time was the fourth outing featuring the Abrams cast, which now has WandaVision director Matt Shankman set to direct. Compared to 2018, when Star Trek 4 was last attempted, Paramount Pictures is now in a much different place. The studio has undergone an executive reshuffle with Brian Robbins at the helm. The movie studio is also being called upon to help supply a streaming service that is looking to build its subscribership to between 65 million and 75 million by 2024. Industry sources note that streaming growth has slowed domestically across the board, hence companies such as Netflix focusing so much on global content. Trek is a franchise that has the underlying good sci-fi stories, diverse casts to travel around the globe. Well, Star Trek has always been diverse. Even before Kurtzman took over. Yet they act like Star Trek's never been diverse before he took over. And what seemed expensive in 2018 is now in a world where Netflix or Apple is making 30 million plus talent deals the norm. To reignite a flagging franchise during a company-wide reboot that puts an emphasis on investor-friendly streaming, it's a price that Paramount might be willing to pay. And honestly, no, we don't need a fourth J.J. Abrams Star Trek movie as far as I'm concerned. We already had 3, and that was 3 too many. Yes, I went and saw the first one and enjoyed it. Some friends took me to see Star Trek Into Darkness, and they enjoyed it. They said if Star Trek was more like that, and this even goes back to Star Trek 2009, that they would have watched Star Trek. While for me, after we watched Into Darkness, I said, you want to watch a better movie? Watch Wrath of Khan, because at the time, it was on Netflix. Yep. Unfortunately, and I'm accepting this now, but I wasn't accepting it before. But unfortunately, Star Trek as it once was, it's just no longer functioning. Unfortunately, the dilithium crystals, well, There's not enough there to even generate war power. So let's go ahead and move on to our next article. If you all feel differently, please let me know in the comments. I would greatly appreciate it. All right, so let me reshare that. I didn't mean to close it. So let me. And the reason why I picked this article for tonight is because I've heard mixed reviews when it comes to Uncharted. Uh, I understand that, Padawannabe. It is pretty much a separate story. I mean, you could slap any other name than Star Trek in and be your typical summer blockbuster sci-fi movie, at least in my opinion. But it's not Star Trek. You know, when you look at the stories that you would get with the original series, Next Gen, DS9, Voyager, and Enterprise, it's nothing like that. All right, so this article from Variety was posted yesterday. It's by Zach Sharf, and it says Tom Holland baffled Zendaya while pitching her Uncharted. What on earth is this movie about? Well, that's what I've heard some people say in reviews. What the heck is this movie? But, it's another game based on a video game franchise, and sometimes video games don't translate into movies. Do you think Hollywood would learn that movie lesson by now? But apparently not. Tom Holland revealed on Late Night with Seth Meyers this week that his attempt to explain Uncharted scenes to his Spider Man co star and girlfriend Zendaya ended in total confusion. I bet. I bet. I'd probably look at him like, what? Holland spent some of his Spider Man No Way Home shoot prepping for Uncharted and reading the script for the Sony backed Adventure movie. That's when the actor decided to run through some Uncharted scenes with Zendaya, who stopped Holland midway through because she had no grasp on the material. I was actually on set on Spider-Man pitching the movie to Zendaya. Holland said, I was going through the film scene by scene, and I told her, oh, there's this great bit where I get hit by a car out of a plane, and she's like, I have to stop you. I have to stop you there. What on earth is this movie about? Yeah, I'm with you right there, Padawannabe. Holland said his love for Indiana Jones movies attracted him to starring in Uncharted, and he got excited to do many of the stunts himself. But then I had to do it, and I broke myself, the actor said. They tell you, right, we're going to do this stunt where you're going to jump into the back of an airplane and then you get hit by a car out of the airplane. And you're like, wow, that sounds amazing, Holland said. And then you shoot it and you're on take 12 and they're like, can we do it again? And you're like, no, I'm done. It was tough. Well, you took on the role, dude. Speaking to Variety shortly before Uncharted opened in theaters nationwide, Holland said, I walked away from every stunt, but I definitely limped from a few. It looked great in the film, so I was happy to take the pounding. Uncharted is now playing in theaters. Well, of course, and like I said, from what I've heard of different reviews, some people are liking it, some people aren't liking it. And honestly, I'm not going to see it. But just out of curiosity, and I'll go ahead and put it. And what I mean by it, the link into the chat is let's go ahead and check Box Office Mojo and see how well it's done. While that's loading up, I'll take another swig of water. All right, let's see what comes up. As far as the box office is concerned, again, I hope you're all doing well tonight. You're enjoying the show. If you're, give it a thumbs up. If you're not, give it a thumbs down. And okay, before I bring it up, Battle Wannabe says I would definitely do as many stunts as I could personally. You know, I can understand where that excitement would come from, being able to perform your own stunts. Almost everything is worth a red box view to me. Well, yeah, I mean, this way you know if a movie's a dud or not, and you're not paying that much to rent it. So I have it here. Let me go ahead and share this. According to Box Office Mojo, the weekend box office for Uncharted this weekend was 44 million. So, you know, there's an audience out there for it who were curious enough to go see it, and they did. And the movie raked in 44 million. Meanwhile, Dog came in at second at 14.9 million. Spider-Man No Way Home, 7.5 million. Death on the Nile came in fourth at 6.6 million. And Jackass Forever rounded up the top five at 5.2 million. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to our next article, shall we? One of the big three that I am talking about tonight. So, anybody a fan of Dwayne The Rock Johnson? Anybody a fan of WWE? Anybody a fan of the XFL? Yeah, Vince McMahon sold the XFL to Dwayne The Rock Johnson not too long ago. And now Dwayne Johnson's XFL sets football research and development pact with the NFL. And why am I covering this? I know some are going to say this seems more sports related than anything else. It's because it involves The Rock and because he's in all those action movies. Not all of them hits, but you know, we can't all have hits. I have videos on here, some do better than others. So, this article comes from Variety. It was posted on Monday, and it says Dwayne Johnson's XFL sets NFL R&D pact with NFL, and it's by William Earl. And real quick, the Padawannabe says I'll still go see Spider-Man before this. Exactly, brother. You'll get your money's worth by going to see Spider-Man No Way Home. Okay, the Nascent XFL Football League, now owned by superstar Dwayne Johnson, has set an R&D partnership with the NFL that is designed to expand the game of football. Johnson and business partner Danny Garcia, his ex-wife, aim to open XFL training camps in January 2023. The partnership with the NFL does not involve games or teams specifically, but it is an agreement to work together in studying the game of football and collaborating on forward thinking physical and mental fitness programs for players, per a joint release issued Monday. We are extremely pleased to collaborate with the NFL in these important areas, said Garcia, who is XFL co owner and chairwoman. We are bringing forward an XFL that is progressive and forward thinking when it comes to innovation, leveraging the newest technology to enhance game day experience. We have an open field for innovative rules to enhance in game access, Sharing insights and practices between the XFL and NFL will do a tremendous amount of good for the game of football and support the player ecosystem overall. The XFL and NFL suggested they may also work together in future development, best practices for international scouting, officiating, safety rules for players. The XFL has shown us that innovation is one of its core principles. Oh yeah, everybody, poo-pooed the XFL the first time it came around, and then the second time it came around, and the second time it came around, it actually had rating success. The only thing that stopped it was the coof. All right, so it goes on to say, I'll just read that again. The XFL has shown us that innovation is one of its core principles. We are hopeful that this relationship will support further development and improvements in the game of football at all levels. The NFL's executive VP of football operations, Troy Vincent, said. Johnson, a former college football star who first made his name as WWE's The Rock. Oh, no, duh. That's where I first know him from, his WWE, or back when it was WWF. Acquired the defunct XFL League from WWE owner Vince McMahon for $15 million in 2020. McMahon launched the XFL in 2000 in partnership with NBC as a bid to add more edge to the action on the gridiron, but XFL operations shuttered after one season. In 2018, McMahon moved to revive the XFL, but its relaunch in February 2020 was cut short by the pandemic, and by April of that year, the XFL filed for bankruptcy protection. Last month, Johnson and Garcia began to rev up marketing for Road to 2023 as the XFL prepares to return. The pair are billing the XFL as a league of opportunity for all at a time with the NFL is again under scrutiny for lack of diversity among the league's owners and top managers and coaches. And well, I'll say one thing. They certainly want to meet their check box. Make sure they meet current year by hitting the diversity mark. I mean, as someone who grew up in the 80s and 90s, we didn't care, whether you're white, black, Latino, whatever. We just looked at people. I looked at my friends and went, "Hey, there's my friend Aaron. There's my friend Victor. There's my friend Miguel." I didn't look at them, as a particular race or, skin color. They were my friends, and they're still my friends. Uh, what a world. All right, so let me just fix this real quick. And let's get to the second of the three articles. All right, so this article comes from Bounding in the Comics, and it was posted on February 22nd, so just yesterday. And it's written by John F. Trent. And it says, new Obi-Wan Kenobi rumor claims Kenobi will have at least 2 battles with Darth Vader in the series. A new Obi-Wan Kenobi rumor claims the Jedi Master will face off against Darth Vader at least twice in the upcoming Disney Plus series. During Disney's Investor Day 2020 presentation, Lucasfilm President Kathleen Kennedy announced the series would feature a rematch between Darth Vader and Obi-Wan Kenobi. She said Obi-Wan Kenobi begins 10 years after the dramatic events of Revenge of the Sith, where he faced his greatest defeat, the downfall and corruption of his best friend and Jedi apprentice, Anakin Skywalker turned evil Sith Lord Darth Vader. Our friends will be thrilled that Hayden Christensen will be returning in the role of Darth Vader. This will be the rematch of the century, she added. On top of Kennedy's comments, showrunner Deborah Chow also confirmed the rematch was happening. We couldn't tell the story of Obi-Wan without Darth Vader. We couldn't tell the story of Obi-Wan without Darth Vader, so they put that in twice. Chow went on to provide further details in a short teaser video for the show on Disney Plus. And I'm just sharing the link in there. It goes on to say, she said, this is quite a dark time that we're coming into with him. Just being a Jedi, it's not safe. There's Jedi hunters out there. McGregor added, at least he has this one task left, which is to keep Luke safe. Chow then states that's definitely a starting place of our story. The interesting, this is going to be where it goes from there. Chow would later state, we couldn't tell the story of Obi-Wan Kenobi without addressing Anakin or Vader. McGregor added, we have another swing at each other. Might be quite satisfying for everybody. And it goes on to say, now a rumor from LRM Online claims there won't be one battle between Obi-Wan Kenobi and Darth Vader, but there will be at least two. The website claims we've heard from our sources that Kenobi and Vader will face off not once but twice in the upcoming series. The site goes on to say the once friends, now enemies, will have two epic battles against each other that we have been told will rank at the top of Star Wars battles. Well, seeing Vader and Kenobi clash lightsabers again might be an entertaining prospect for some Star Wars fans. The whole idea of them fighting each other again before their battle on the Death Star in the original Star Wars movies doesn't make a lot of sense. And I've said that myself, and I've even said it in discussions with other people. If you recall, in the original film, Vader tells Kenobi, I've been waiting for you, Obi-Wan. We meet again, at last. The circle is now complete. When I left you, I was but the learner. Now I am the master. Yep. And Kenobi responded, only a master of evil, Darth. And there might be a reason why it doesn't make a lot of sense and appears to contradict Lucasfilms. During the 1981 Revenge of the Jedi story conference, Lucas explained how Obi-Wan didn't raise Luke Skywalker himself, but instead stays hidden in the deserts of Tatooine. Lucas said Ben takes one and gives him to a couple out there on Tatooine, and he gets his little hideout in the hills and watches him grow. Ben can't raise Luke himself because he's a wanted man. And what do I think about this new Kenobi rumor? What do you all think about this new Kenobi rumor about Obi-Wan Kenobi and Darth Vader facing off not once, but twice in this series? I'm going to say it again. I know there's going to be someone who disagrees, but these are my thoughts. And it's okay to disagree because this is just my opinion. But I think if you have them meet not once, but twice in the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, it takes away from what was said in the original Star Wars film on the Death Star. That's just my opinion. that it takes away from it. It doesn't add to it, it takes away from it. All right. So we've got one more article to read tonight. And then after this, I might look for another article just for the heck of it. Because why not? So yeah, we did. We spoke about it on Saturday. And honestly, I don't want to be. I'm standing by what I say. I think it's going to take away from what was said in the original Star Wars. I really do think it's going to take away from it. And pop culture mechanics is Lucas preying on people's nostalgia. They have no creativity of their own. No, they don't. I mean, you know, there's even rumors of seeing Leia in the series as well. It's member berries. That's all it is. It's member berries. Hey, do you guys remember Princess Leia? Yeah. Carrie Fisher? Yeah, we do remember Princess Leia. How could we forget? Great character. But no. Boy. Both Star Wars, Star Trek, and Doctor Who. Oh boy. Hmm, hmm, hmm. Oh boy. Okay, so this other story from oh, I'm sorry guys. Luckily I do have some throat lozenges. All right. So this third and possibly final main event story. I don't know. I'm still thinking about looking for another article after this one. Comes to us from Bounding in the Comics, and it says Chevy Chase says he does not give a crap that former co-stars accused him of being a jerk. Well, I mean, this has been a long reported rumor that he's not always friendly to his co-stars. And the Padawannabe real quick says, oh, I know it will for many fans, but the actual words still work for the most part for me. It won't break me the same way other things made me question why. All right. And see, Padawannabe has his perspective. I have mine. You all have yours. And that's fine. That's what being an adult is. Being able to express ourselves, give our own opinions, and just being able to move on. I respect his opinion. All right, so this article is by Josh Berger. It was posted on the 21st of this month. And it goes on to say, in a recent interview with CBS Sunday Morning's Jim Axelrod, actor and comedian Chevy Chase opened up about his time on Community and Saturday Night Live and revealed that he doesn't give a crap about his former co-stars accusing him of being a jerk on set. Okay, so it goes on to say, well, you and I do. You and I get along perfectly well. We listen to each other's side and we still talk to each other. And again, that's part of being an adult, being able to just listen to the other side's point of view and going, all right, well, you said your piece, I said mine, and, move on and then come back later and talk. Chase broached the subject after being asked by Axelrod, you always ask a comedian, why did you become a comic? Did a part of it come from the pain? To which the comedian explained in agreement. I think if you speak to many comedians, they'll say the pain, the fear, it comes from their childhood. Axelrod went on to explain that the Caddyshack star loved to hang out with his father, a book editor who counted Truman Capote and Norman Mailer as friends. And it goes on to say, while talking to Norman and Truman, my father catches me in his eye, and while they're talking to him, he suddenly does this sticks out tongue in funny manner, recalled the Caddyshack star, explaining that he was absorbing his father's sense of humor. Come on, that's just outrageous and funny. While Chase loved hanging out with his father, the relationship with his stepfather was quite the different story, as the comedian disclosed that his stepfather would lay hands on him and his mother. He was violent toward my mother, Chase said. When Axelrod asked him whether his stepfather was abusive toward him, the comedian simply said, "Yeah, he hit." He continued, "I was afraid all the time growing up, and I still have a lot of that fear in me. So, in a sense, it did shape my path. It sort of made me want to take those people out. Bullies, I hated bullies." And it goes on to say, interestingly, despite his feelings towards such individuals, being some sort of a bully is what Chase is known for, as many of his co stars have accused the comedian of being a jerk on set. When you read the stuff, Chevy's been a jerk. Are those unfounded cheap shots? Asked Axelrod. I guess you'd have to ask them. I don't give a crap, Chase replied with a laugh. Oh, he's at the age where he doesn't give a crap. I hate to tell you, you do get to a point when as you get older where it's like, I don't give a crap. I'm gonna go on with my life and live my life the best way I can, and to hell with others people's opinion. I am who I am, he asserted, and I like who I am. I don't care. It's part of me that I don't care. And I've thought about that a lot. And I don't know what to tell you, man. I just don't care. In 2012, Chase parted ways with NBC and left the sitcom community after 5 seasons, reportedly due to the comedian being difficult to work with on set. His public feud with community creator and former showrunner Dan Harmon did little to help matters. Prior to his departure, Deadline reported that there had allegedly been commotion on the set of Community over Chase using the N word during a profanity laced outburst. The report suggests, however, that Chase's tirade was not addressed at black cast members Donald Glover and Yvette Nicole Brown. According to the outlet, Chase had been increasingly frustrated and uncomfortable with the direction of his character, Pierce, who is a bigot. After getting fed more lines, he found offensive during a scene yesterday. I hear he snapped and launched the tirade, airing his frustration and suggesting that the way things with Pierce are going, he may next be asked to call Troy, Glover, and Shirley Brown the N word. In a 2012 interview with the Huffington Post, Chevy was asked why he decided to start working in a TV show after almost exclusively doing movies up to that point, to which he exclaimed, "It was a big mistake. I saw this pilot script, thought it was funny, and I went into the room where they were casting and said, I would love to play this guy. Then they mold it over," and he recalled. "Then they hired me, and I was just sort of hung around because I have $3 and a wife, and I figured out I might as well make some bread every week so I can take care of them in the way they want." Well, like I said, whether you agree or disagree with him, you do get to a point in your life where, you know, you're going to do what you're going to do. You got to say what you're going to say and own up to it. Not everybody's going to own up to it, I realize. But you do get to a point as you get older where you don't give a crap. I'm not trying to make an excuse for him. I'm just saying it from my own personal experience and people I've dealt with. You deal with people where they've gotten to a point in their life where they really don't give a crap. And Pop Culture Mechanic says, I've heard the same things about him too. Yeah. We've all heard these rumors throughout the years, but like I said, you'll deal with people in your own life who you know from dealing with them, you know from the moment go, they don't care, and there's nothing that you're going to say that's going to change them. That's just a fact of life. Yeah, as long as he's not harming anyone, there's no problem here to me. Yeah, that's very true. All right. I'm looking to see if there's anything else we can talk about tonight or if I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. I try not to talk about anything that's political. And I have seen that article from the Variety reviewer on that new movie Red from Disney, and all I'm going to say is it's disturbing. And I'm going to go ahead and post this link from Bounty into Comics, where they even talk about it, but I did find it disturbing. Thank you, Pat. I want to be. But, Wednesday's Pop Talk, and I didn't want to give you guys a recorded version. And I certainly hope I didn't give you guys a half-assed version either. I still wanted to give you my all and give you all 100% because that's what I aim to do. And everything I do on this channel, whether it's a video, whether it's a live stream, I want to give you all 100%. Because I enjoy doing this and I enjoy seeing you guys come in to the chat and, give your thoughts and opinions on these articles or give your thoughts and opinions on anything I've posted on this channel. I really appreciate it. I want you guys to know that. Yeah. Let's see. Is there anything? There's that. You know what? Let's go ahead and talk about this real quick because I have seen this video. So I'm going ahead and posting it into the chat. And I'm sure all of you are aware of the protests that have been going on during this whole month up in Canada and things that have happened and even things that happened today. So this article was posted yesterday on Bounty into Comics by Josh Berger, and it says Marvel actress Evangeline Lilly targeted for cancellation after calling out Justin Trudeau to listen to Ottawa protesters. Eventually, Lilly has become the most recent target of the rogue cancel culture mob after the Ant-Man and Wasp actress encouraged Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau to sit down with Ottawa truckers protesting the country's COVID vaccine mandates and listen to what they have to say. In a 5-minute long video shared to her social media, Lily addressed Trudeau and asserted, "Dear Prime Minister Trudeau, I want to speak to you today about your current approach to and treatment of our fellow Canadians who are protesting your federal vaccine mandates. They have asked to meet with you, Prime Minister, medical experts, top scientists, doctors, nurses, parents, grandparents, intelligent, loving, concerned citizens," she added, attempting to appeal to his humanity. "Why won't you sit with them?" And I'm going to be upfront with you all right now. I have watched the protests. I mean, they've been readily available here on YouTube, and I have watched it. And from what I've saw in the various videos, not just one, but many, it was a peaceful protest. All right, so it goes on to say, if you are so convinced of your own reasons for the mandates, sit down and walk the leaders of the group of 2.3 million protesters across the country who represent many millions more across the nation, and explain it to them and ask them to listen with open hearts and minds and then reciprocate. Lily encouraged Trudeau. Listen to what they have to say with a mind open to hearing things that might go against ideas you're entrenched in. Maybe there are solutions that can bring Canadians together right now that you have not considered. You know, my late mother used to always tell me, and even my father would tell me, that when you ask somebody a question, be prepared to hear one of two things: something you want to hear or something you don't want to hear. So, yeah, that's where I look at this. The Wasp actress further explained, "You unify people by finding solutions together, not by vilifying those who say there is a better way. What we need to do right now from our leadership is unification, and that requires being willing to see, recognize, and hear from people sitting out in the cold at your door," Lily urged the Canadian Prime Minister. Even though Lily has a left leaning celebrity, her open support of the truckers' freedom convoy drew the ire of the cancel culture mob, who responded to her video by clamoring for the actress to be canceled and her Marvel character recast. The most fabulous story ever told, playwright Paul Rudnick wrote, a pitch for a new reality show. Eventually, Lily, Kevin Sorbo, Scott Baio, Susan Sarandon, Christy Alley, and John Voight are left on a remote island without food or water. That's the whole pitch. Okay, so then it goes on. So eventually, Lily went straight from anti-vaccine mandates to defending swastika waving assholes inserted user. Funny, in the videos I watched, I didn't see anybody waving any swastikas. Nashville, India writer at Promise called not only for Lily's MCU recasting, but also Black Panther actress Letitia Wright, who has received backlash since December 2020 for her skepticism of COVID-19 vaccines. Okay, so it, and you know, this is where being able to respect other people's thoughts, views, and opinions comes into mind. I mean, we've forgotten how to do that. There are probably things that, you know, you feel one way and I feel another. And even if we don't agree, we could probably still get together and have a cup of coffee or something. Okay, so and then they go through their recasting decisions. Uh, you know, folks, you're gonna run into people in your lives who don't agree with you, who have different viewpoints. We all have different viewpoints. So yeah, this is all the tweets and everybody pretty much wanting her, fired and recasted. And okay, so this is good. I I live in Canada, and Trudeau went too far with his powers. All right, so see, let someone who lives there, who knows, and let them give their viewpoint as pop culture mechanic has given his viewpoint. And you know what? I don't care. I'm saying this right now. Trudeau did overstep his boundaries. He didn't listen to the people. As a leader of a free world, a free nation, listen to the people. And the Padawannabe says, "Uh-oh, is she going to get Gina Carano'd?" I'm with Pop Culture Mechanic here. I hope not. I really hope not. And the Padawannabe says they were completely peaceful protesters. The people they brought in to push them out were completely aggressive to non-hostile citizens. Yeah, one of the great things I saw from watching the various videos, you know what people were doing in the streets, in the frozen streets up there in Ottawa and other places? They were playing street hockey. They were playing street hockey, waving to each other, saying hello, being polite, being friendly, being cordial. What's wrong with that? What is wrong with that? Nothing. Nothing is wrong with that. And Pop Culture Mechanics says that's how it goes. The RCMP is used by the government to crush opposition. Padawannabe says they make it seem so bad, but it was nothing compared to the Capitol siege that happened in the US. No, because guess what? For a whole month up there in Canada, it was peaceful. It was peaceful. There are plenty of videos you can find of the protests of regular, ordinary people who are down there on the ground showing the video. And the Padawannabe says the just ignored the protests for short. Yeah, he did. He did. And you know what? Some might not like me talking about it, but I've got a friend in Pop Culture Mechanic who's Canadian. This concerns him. And I don't want to see anything happen to our Canadian brothers and sisters. And I'm going to leave it at that. And on that note, I am going to go ahead and end this broadcast of PACIFIC414 Pop Talk. Again, if you like this episode, please give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like this episode, give it a thumbs down. If you like any of the content on the channel, please subscribe to the PACIFIC414 YouTube channel. And it's no problem. No problem at all, brother. We may live in different nations, but guess what? We're all citizens of the same freaking planet. And I'm just stating my point of view. But it's no problem, pop culture mechanic. No problem at all. But again, if you like what you saw here, thumbs up. If you didn't, thumbs down. Subscribe to the channel if you like the content on this channel. And also, once again, just like in the beginning, I am going to go ahead and congratulate Brandon, the anime guy, on reaching 500 subscribers. Way to go, brother. You deserve it, man. You're working hard on that channel and you're producing great content. And here's the link for his channel. I will go ahead and post it in the chat once again. And even though I've read all the articles for today's edition of Pop Talk, I think I will probably forego the recorded edition of Pop Talk for this Sunday. And I will go ahead and do a live edition instead. So expect that to be a thing where there will be times where, even though I primarily want the Sunday edition to be just 2 episodes long, well, 2 articles long, I should say, that there will be times where I decide, you know what? This particular Sunday, it's going to be a live episode. So I will see when stories pop up between tonight and the weekend, and we will talk about it. Until then, I want to thank those of you who stopped by during the live stream. I want to thank the Padawannabe. Thank you, brother. I also want to thank Pop Culture Mechanic. Thank you, brother. And I would look forward to doing another live stream with both of you gentlemen soon. As a matter of fact, I will go ahead and say it here that I put up a poll on Twitter on Sunday asking if anybody would like to partake in a live stream where we talk about the different items we collect, whether it's Star Wars, Star Trek, whatever. You know, I like Star Wars and Star Trek, and I have some Doctor Who items, but I'm also a baseball fan, so one of the things I also collect are hats, in particular, Cub hats. So I can show off my various Cub hats, show off a few other things I have. And, I'm also a wrestling fan, so, I have some replica belts I can show. But if anybody would like to be a part of that particular live stream, let me know either in the comment section below here on the live stream before it ends, or on the Twitter page, or in the Discord. So let's go through and acknowledge those who also stopped by. I've already mentioned Pop Culture Mechanic and the Padawannabe. I also want to thank Godzillionaire for stopping by. Good to see you, brother. Always nice to see you. Always nice to see everybody, as a matter of fact. And I also want to thank Brian, the Nerdporial Lifeform. Thank you, brother. Really appreciate it. And that was it for those who stopped by during the live stream. So again, thank you all so very much. Hope you have yourselves a good night. And I will see you tomorrow night for part 2 of my Final Fantasy VII Remake gameplay. So until then, you all have yourselves a great night. And as always, take care.